morning. You're welcome to Women's Corner. It's exciting to be here today. And of course, it's 1st of August. It's a Thursday. And I'll say Happy New Month to all my lovelies there. Everyone joining us on Women's Corner and joining us on all Galaxy television programs. You're welcome. Happy New Month. And I hope this month becomes the best for us, despite the situation or anything, going on in the country. I pray for the very best for everyone. And of course, yes, this program runs from 11 a.m. to 12 noon every Monday through Friday. And we discuss everything that has to do with women empowerment, strengthening us mentally, physically, okay, maybe a little bit of spiritually, but we don't really diverge into that area. But you're welcome. And do not forget, we're streaming live on all our social media platforms at Galaxy Television on Facebook and on Twitter. Just type in Galaxy Television and they can watch us live. Then if you don't want to go through social media platforms, or you don't have a TV set beside you or in front of you, you can actually download Galaxy Television app from Google Play Store or Apple Play Store. Today is quite interesting because we're discussing something a bit quite different from our very usual, and we're talking about pregnancy in women. There are a lot of stages. I've heard some very weird things about people when they're pregnant, and in fact I've seen a lot of experiences of women when they are pregnant, especially when it comes to cravings. It's wild. But of course, I have two registered nurse and midwife that are actually here joining us via Zoom to educate us on this period. And of course, men, you need to sit in front of your screen TV, pick up your phone and start listening, because see, as much as women are pregnant, you're as good as pregnant if you are the husband, because you have to support. It's a whole lot. But let's go on a short break, and when I come back, I will introduce my two Zoom guests, and of course, we'll get talking about pregnancy in women. Stay with us. Let's go for the short break. Welcome back. So yes, I'm going to start with my first guest. Her name is Adesua Joanne Oni. Adesua Joanne Oni is a registered nurse and midwife. She is the founder of Pregnancy Support Foundation, PSF. She's also a speaker, and she has authored about 20 books. Probably we're still waiting for more of those books. Adesua Joanne Oni, can we have you on the screen? Say hi. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Hi. It's good to be here. Please, I just want to mention something. I hope you're indoors and you're not stepping out today because of the protest. Everybody has to stay safe. If you have nothing to do outside, please stay in your house. Okay, I have another guest also. She is Cynthia Chioma Udebwani. She's a registered nurse and midwife. She is an outreach facilitator of Life Impact Foundation. She is the community administrator at PSF, same association with Adesua, and she's an empowerment advocate. It's good to have you here, Chioma. How are you doing? Good morning.
I'm doing just great. I trust you're fine too.
Thank you.
Glad
Yes.
to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining. You know, at first I was a bit scared while I was communicating with my guest because the network was really, really jamming. In fact, several times I had to like open my phone and check the SIM if my SIM is still inside my phone, and if I still have data, because I don't run out of data. So what's going on? But you know, thank God for the network. It's favoring us at this point. So I'm just gonna ask. Let me start with Adesua. My first question. You know, as a founder of Pregnancy Support Foundation, I know it's your desire to actually see through this. And when I got talking with her, she told me, she said, loss on pregnancy is deep. Like even the cravings, if you want to talk about the cravings, it's crazy. What area are we going to? I said, see, I can't just speak an area. Let's just talk. It's going to be an interesting conversation. Let's talk. Wherever our conversation directs us to, we'll go that route. Okay, so I'm just going to ask this first question. What are the most common pre-pregnancy health issues faced by Nigerian women, and how can we prevent this and manage this?
Okay. Is that question for me?
Yes, for you.
Okay. I wouldn't want to go by the way of
specific diagnosis, I would like to go by the way of symptoms, because I know that people come up with symptoms and they mention symptoms to their health providers, and then the health provider or the healthcare provider will be able to treat and make diagnosis based on those symptoms. So I'm going to start with the commonest symptoms that most pregnant women feel when they're pregnant, especially in the first trimester. And there are normal symptoms and there are the ones that point us towards a diagnosis, like a health problem. And you have asked specifically about health problems, right? Now, the first symptom of pregnancy is missed period. That's obviously not a problem. Once you miss your period and you are in a marriage, it will not pose a problem. But when you miss your period and you are outside of marriage, it automatically leads to thinking about abortion, which is one of the biggest health problems we have as women, young women especially, women that are not ready for pregnancy at that time. And this has led to a lot of problems in our society, especially among teenagers, right? And this is a problem that it looks as if it cannot be held down. It looks like it's getting more and more in the society. Now, we have other conditions, right, of people that are actually ready to be pregnant, which is miscarriage. You know, when you miss your period, you're already excited. The man is excited. The wife is also excited that, oh, you're pregnant. And then they begin to experience threatened abortion. You know, threatened abortion is one of the commonest problems of pregnant women, right? Now, when your pregnancy is threatened, it's not just when you have pain, because some people will have slight pain when they take in or within the first 3 months of being pregnant, right? Now, when that pain is accompanied by spotting or loss of blood, then you now begin to find a reason to worry and begin to see, oh, I need to do something about it. And this is one of the major reasons why we encourage people to register on time. You know, we have in Nigeria, in the African sector, we have a lot of people registering, booking their pregnancy, right? You are presenting the first time. That's what I mean by booking, right? You're presenting that pregnancy the first time at the hospital at 8 months, at 8.5 months, at 7 months. It's crazy. When you to some women, they'll say, nothing do me now. I beg, don't disturb my life. Oh, my mama born 7 children, she no go hospital. So when you hear things like that, even you, the professional, you don't even know what to say to those kind of people again. You be like, are you trying to say that good health runs in your gene? Perfect health runs in your gene. Now, people that have threatened abortion, even before the required time to register, because you're required to register or book your pregnancy at 16 weeks at least. 16 weeks. Now, 16 weeks is about 4 months, right? But I usually encourage people that once you know you're pregnant, it's not going to bite. Just register the pregnancy. Let your blood pressure be taken. The earliest your scan is taken, the first scan that is taken, if your scan is done at 2 months, the accuracy of your EDD, that's your expected date of delivery, is far more accurate, right? The accuracy is more dependable than a scan that is done at 7 months or 8 months. Okay. If you know that the EDD that is sitting there, you cannot really rely on it so much. That is why the rest of people pick 2 weeks or 2 weeks after. So now, most times it's this threatened abortion that will make people run to the hospital and say, it be like say, I won't lose this pregnancy. I beg, we cannot afford to lose this. On some cases, if people don't have issues, they will not go to the hospital with their pregnancy. So it's nowadays, okay, especially in teaching hospitals in enlightened society, we are having some people register their pregnancies when the tummy is totally flat, and you're like, madam, what do you do here? I do where I am. I should be okay. Okay, you know, we have a lot of people that even at 5 months, their tummies are still more or less fresh. You wouldn't know anything is going on inside them. So the way to handle that, like you said, is to actually register on time. You know, when your baseline blood pressure is taken, your baseline heart rate is taken, your baseline respiratory rate is taken, your baseline temperature is, you know, everybody knows what you were at before you got pregnant or within the first 2 months of being pregnant. Then when you come again after 2 months and they take your vitals again, and they can compare that, oh, there's a little deviation from what we saw before, and then you come the third time and they said, oh, there's another deviation from what we saw. They will be able to care for you faster, and they'll be able to care for you more effectively than if you came suddenly from the blues with head on pee. You know, when we say head on pee, you came with the baby's head in your perineum. We will just take the delivery and tell you to go home. You know, so it's threatening abortion that makes you get to the hospital. One of the commonest conditions that make women get to the hospital pregnancy. And in other cases, like miscarriage, like the threatened abortion has already progressed and the baby is already lost. So you still have to intervene. You cannot leave a lost pregnancy in situ. You still need to go to the hospital, and then they have to clear out any remnants. Because if that remnant is not cleared out, it causes another health problem, which can be PID or infection that they will eventually treat you for, and it can even lead to this. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm so sorry to cut you. I know you have a lot to say, but we just need to be managing our time because we have only 1 hour to speak. So I want to ask, you've said something, you said the abortion, of course, and you said, in fact, you said a whole lot in between the abortion and all of those things, why it is necessary to make sure you do some tests and always register. Yes, I've seen a lot of people whereby they will have their tummy very flat at 5. I've seen someone even at 7 months. It's as good as you can't even detect if the person is pregnant. And sometimes some people even say, I didn't know I was pregnant at 7 months. I was like, how? Don't you see your period? That's another thing. Before we go into that, I still have some just very deep questions to ask before we go to the normal, happenings in our day-to-day life. So I'm going to ask this one to Chioma. So what is the most common? She said the most common. Now I just want you to pick points, just one in 2 minutes. What is the most common pregnancy complications that we have in Nigeria women right now, and how can it be managed in just 2 minutes? Cynthia, that's for you.
Okay, thank you, ma, for that question. So, if we are saying most common in Nigeria, that means we have to work with statistics. So I would say it's what we call the pre-eclampsia, eclampsia, okay, which has to do with markedly or a very high blood pressure accompanied with protein in urine and swollen legs, what we call edema in the medical profession. So that's like the most common so far that you will find when it has to do with complications in pregnancy. Okay, probably not most common, but you also have other issues like abruptio placenta, when the placenta, detaches from the uterine wall. But let me just focus on the one of eclampsia and preeclampsia. So it has to do with increased blood pressure that is above 120 over 80, tending towards 140 above, and then from from 90 above 90 and going up like that. So when this happens, the woman is at risk of a whole lot of things. In fact, personally, I've witnessed one that had she entered into seizures. She started having seizures or fits. That's what that increased blood pressure can cause or can, bring a woman to. The baby she's carrying is also at risk as well. Now, how can this problem of blood pressure or increased blood pressure in pregnancy, how can it be managed? How can we prevent, or how can we control it? Just like my colleague mentioned earlier, number one is that once you notice that you are pregnant, once you notice that you have missed your period, the most important thing at that point in time is to go to, a very good health facility. I'm not talking about traditional birth attendants or maybe one ER, somebody in your neighborhood that takes care of women when they are pregnant. I mean, a registered facility where you can be checked. So you get booked, and then they take your baseline vital signs. They take your BP, your normal BP reading. And then from there, you get to, keep up with your antenatal visits, okay? Now, if there is, we notice that, okay, your blood pressure is now getting high, then we can go into prescription of their medications that are safe in pregnancy to control, the blood pressure of women. And if that is done and it's not working, then the next point of call is that to save the woman, to save the baby, we will start considering an early cesarean session, especially when the baby has, or there's now viability. When I mean by viability, like the baby has matured to an extent. So we can think of booking a cesarean session so that the woman is delivered of her baby. And if the baby is too young to, cope with extrauterine life, the baby is admitted into the neonatal intensive care unit for management until he's stable enough. Now, when I mentioned the aspect of management, usually because that blood pressure was induced by pregnancy, why we consider early cesarean session is that usually when the baby is brought out, when the baby is extracted from the mother's womb, the woman's blood pressure would usually return back to normal. Now we find out that the problem with this eclampsia and preeclampsia is that it is not detected early. Most times when women come and they are presenting with this, it's because they already started feeling symptoms, maybe headache and blurred vision and maybe weakness and all those symptoms that accompany high blood pressure. But if you are faithful and dedicated to your antenatal visits, you are taking your routine drugs, your routine medications, and you're doing what you should do with regards to adequate dieting, because that's another thing. Adequate dieting, you exercise mildly and do other things exactly. So we are sure that we can easily spot and manage this condition before it goes out of hand. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that one. That's amazing. Now, I hope a lot of people are getting educated. I think one common thing I'm seeing in most of what we're saying is always make sure you're registered and you keep going to the hospital to check yourself to be sure that you don't have issues with your baby, or even before getting pregnant. I think it's very normal to actually see your medical doctor. Okay, so I want to ask you, Adesua, now let's talk about the traditional birth attendants, because I don't know what to call them. They call themselves nurse too, but they say they are traditional nurses. Now, a lot of people will tell you, instead of me paying one expensive amount to a hospital and paying one outrageous amount and keep doing tests, I have one, I don't know if they call it Zilia Lagbo, what they call them, traditional nurse that, in fact, when you just go there, she'll just press here, she'll give you some herbs you take, and maybe when it's time for delivery, if you have any issues with delivery or whatever, there's a way they do it, there's a concoction they mix, and you won't even know when you give birth. There's so many, you hear some amazing stories, but at the same time, there are also these other bad stories that tend not to fly. How women lose their life, or the child lose their life, or the child have a complication, or one thing and that. Now, you as a registered nurse, not a traditional nurse, obviously, how do you think these traditional birth attendants, how do you think they affect or play a role, let's just say play a role in pregnancy and childbirth? And do you actually think they have a contribution, or do you think they need to stop, or do you think they actually, they are helping? I don't know. What do you say about that? Because you're saying something. You said some people will say I'm okay because they come to the hospital at maybe their 7th or 8th month. And if you find out, if you speak to some of them, they will tell you, I've been taking Agbo. There's a woman, she will tell me, the baby is kicking, the baby is okay. And the last time she checked, the baby was fine. What's your say? What do you think about the traditional attendant?
Actually, I have a lot to say about this, because
in 2 minutes, you have a lot to say.
Come to interplay. Some people will tell you that if we go back to the times of the Bible, the Israelites were busy walking away themselves, and nobody was looking after them. They were pregnant and they put to bed. There's this slang we have in midwifery practice, like the midwives of old, give us good homes. Like the women put to bed before the midwives came. Those midwives were obviously in the category of traditional birth attendants, not like they were trained officially in a healthcare facility. So I think the idea was handed over from genealogy, from generation to generation, from mothers, from old women to another set of old women, teaching them that this is how you are going to take deliveries. And God has been faithful. I think God is far more faithful to Africans. Now, we should not take God for granted. What I usually tell people, as founder of Pregnancy Support Foundation, we go into the less privileged societies, like the locations where we find these people that actually go to see traditional birth attendants. I will never castigate anybody for trying to help, right? So because you ask me, are they helping? Definitely they are helping. But in the same vein, some people don't know their limits. Some people don't know that when they have gone beyond what they are supposed to do. They don't know the right time to tell the mother to go to the hospital. So in a situation like in a setting like Nigeria, we usually tell people that even if you have the mindset that this traditional birth attendant is helping you, please still register in a general hospital or a teaching hospital, because these people will not be able to help you when there are complications, because the first pregnancy may not be the same as your second pregnancy. It may not be the same as your third pregnancy. If everything goes well with your first and second, it does not mean that the third one will not present in a totally different way. You can have hemorrhage at any time. And hemorrhage is one of the commonest issues that come up with women that are put into birth, especially in the second stage of labor. Everything would have gone well in the first stage for 12 hours, and then the baby is coming out, and the baby comes out, and she opens taps. We call something open tap. When she opens tap, there is hardly anything this woman, that traditional birth attendant, can do for you at that time. She can do her best. She can, if she knows a little about misoprostol, she may be able to give you. If she knows a little about this, maybe. But in that kind of situation, there has to be immediate and early referral. So it's the best advice I usually tell pregnant women: just please do well to deliver in a setting where they have facilities, not just in any private hospital, because a lot of people just say, "Oh, I will use this private hospital at my beck and call that is close to my house." But those people will still have to refer you to another setting if a problem comes up, right? I'm not saying that we should overflood the teaching hospitals, definitely, right? But I usually advise people, in case you fall into labor in the middle of the night, there should be somewhere nearby that you will actually, first of all, report to. People will not move at 1 a.m. You're like, everywhere is dark. They don't lock our gates. They don't lock our compound. They don't do this one. Somewhere nearby. Now, these traditional birth attendants, they are on level, but they are not officially trained in healthcare settings. So there is a limit to what they can offer. And the problem with Africa and Nigeria is that these women will try to be proving, like a mother is trying to prove to the children that I can cook this jollof rice. What are they cooking there that I cannot cook? Wait. When you now eat the jollof rice, you discover that the taste is different from the party jollof rice, and the child is telling you, it is party jollof rice I want. So there will always be the difference in that, that expertise. There will always be a difference, and that difference means the difference between life and death. And once you're dead, you're dead. Nobody can. Let's call her back. Right location, no. They cannot call you back at the time you have gone already. They'll just say, we are sorry, we have lost the mother, but the child is alive, and the man will be left alone to take care of his child. So that's what is giving us the high mortality rates that we have in Nigeria. Those locations, those locations in which we have so many women, there is a large population, very, very large population in the interiors. That's why we go into those places for outreach, so that we can let these people know that this is the right thing to do. Please do well to do it. Save enough money before you get pregnant. And before the next baby, please rest well and save well before you decide to get pregnant.
Again. Thank you. Amazing. I love the example you cited when you talked about jollof rice. It's just like meeting someone that just knows how to cook jollof rice and meeting a chef that is well trained will definitely cook it better than you. And it's different from what you get in your house when you just cook it. And they say something, I don't know how true that is. They always say that when you use firewood to cook jollof rice, that's the sweetest. Now cooking it with your gas or with your pot or whatever, it's always that firewood. So there's a difference when a professional, someone that is an expert, is dealing with something that has, especially when it comes to life. Don't play with your life. That's the most important thing. So let's talk about another aspect that I think is very important, that a lot of women do not, which is still part of the things. You see a lot of pregnant women, they are taking agbo in the morning, they're taking in the night. Some of them don't even take any drug or take anything, which they call them, I've forgotten what they call them. It's like a normal, the normal nutritional pills they give to them, the ferrous sulfate and all of that they are supposed to take to help them, manage themselves till the next meeting they will have with their doctor, or in case if an emergency comes up, then they can still meet their doctor. Now, I want to ask, I'm going to ask this one to Cynthia. Nutritional deficiencies during pregnancy that affect women are what? We will need to know what are those nutritional deficiencies that you think is mostly common in Nigeria women. Like as a nurse, you've seen a lot of people, you handle a lot of women, and you found out that most times from your experience, these are the things that they lack. If these are the things they lack, while you're mentioning them, how can they actually manage this? Like, how can they build that nutritional value back again so that people that are pregnant now can quickly, start responding to what they are supposed to do rightly to protect themselves and also protect the baby? In 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very much for that question. So speaking of nutritional deficiency, you would have to come from the angle of when it is excess and when it is not enough. No. Now, for those nutrients that are usually scarce in the body during pregnancy, the first is iron. Then we have folic acid. Then going forward, we'll now begin to mention calcium and other trace elements. Now, for folic acid, why folic acid is very, very important. In fact, it is advised that even months before you take in, you have started taking folic acid, especially when you know that you are the type that you don't diet properly. When I mean proper dieting, you don't eat enough of vegetables and fruits. You understand? So why is folic acid essential? Now, folic acid is essential because at the first trimester, that is when the baby is, multiplying. The baby cells are multiplying and differentiating into the different organs that will make the whole body as we have it. So when you have deficiency in folic acid, that is when we start having things like, some kind of structural deformities in children. You have things, most especially the neural tube defect. I don't know if you've probably seen a baby that was born and the head is so big. You hear stuff like hydrocephalus, water in the brain, and a lot of other things. So it is because of the folic acid. When there is inadequate, an inadequate amount of the folic acid in the woman's bloodstream, the baby cannot take up the necessary amount that he or she needs to be able to grow into a healthy human being. How can you handle that aspect of deficiency in folic acid? We have our routine drugs. We have our nutrient drugs, but you find out that some women complain that the drugs, they smell, they make me vomit, they do this, they do that. At the end of the day, they will either trash it. In fact, I know I've encountered a woman that as she's leaving the antenatal venue, she's dumping it in the nearby dustbin going home like that. She doesn't even want to see it in her house and the rest of it. So I feel and I know and I understand that the reason why we are having this conversation now is because we want to enlighten people on the importance. Because if you know that this is what something will do for you, I'm sure that you will go any length. I remember watching a video that short clip by Nosa Desu on her status, and she was like, even if not forever, just put the thing inside and just be sure that one way or the other you are taking that routine drugs. Then the number 2 I mentioned was iron. Now, iron is usually, in fact, that is one nutrient in the body that a woman needs over 20% increase in her daily dietary requirement when she eventually gets pregnant, because the baby is drawing a lot from her supply of of iron, which is why you have that women who are pregnant, they can easily come down with pregnancy-induced anemia or anemia in pregnancy, okay? And another thing that causes it is because of her blood volume is also diluted because of some hormonal some hormonal changes. So at the end of the day, you find out that that woman will need an extra level of, iron, no matter how she takes, her vegetables, no matter how she's faithful in taking her vegetables, she'll still need that extra that comes from the ferrous sulfates, that red pill that is being given to them. Okay, so how can you correct it? Like I said earlier, you just have to try, even though it is not convenient, but you have to try and take those routine medications. And then dieting, very, very important. Do a lot of fruits, do a lot of vegetables. You can't take vegetables and take it to a point that it is too much in your body.
It's too much.
So let me add
to what you said. Because of what you said now, let me add to this. I'm talking to you, Cynthia, because of what you said. So I'm going to ask you this one, but I will still want to hear from Adesua. Can I have Cynthia on the screen while I'm talking to her? So I want to see her facial expression. I want to see the smiles if it comes. I want to see us together, please, not just her alone. I want to see us together. So now I'm going to ask you this. You said something about dieting. Now, I've seen a lot of women that, they diet and all of that to maintain their body and all of that. Now, from the other side, let's look at it this way. A lot of people confuse the stomach with the womb. Now, take for example, for people who are on the bigger side, they have a bigger tummy. Do you understand? Yes. So they believe that once you have a big tummy, if you are pregnant, once you're pregnant, your stomach will be much bigger. And there's another school of thought that say, no, once your tummy, that's the womb, is bigger, you don't even need to have your stomach very big, which invariably confuses me to actually say, okay, are you now saying that someone that eats a lot, when the person is pregnant, because you eat a lot, your tummy comes out? You mean when the person is pregnant, the person's stomach will come out? I just want you to clear that notion to make a difference between the stomach and the womb. They are not the same thing, because people believe that once you eat, your tummy gets bigger. Definitely when you're pregnant, even if you're one of those people that your wombs, by 7 months, they won't even know you're pregnant, which I've seen a lot of big people that are pregnant, even to their 7th, their 8th, 9th month, you won't even know that they are pregnant, because you think that's just their tummy is big, but they are just on that. I want you to just help us clarify that part of the stomach and the womb. Cynthia, in just 2 minutes, because our time is already fast spent. 2 minutes, and I mean 2 minutes, actually. Yes.
All right, okay. let me be sure to time myself. So I don't know if I got your question, but you're trying to ask if you're trying to differentiate between the stomach and the womb. Now, there are two distinct organs. Now, what happens in the womb? Why you will have some women have, more, their tummy protrude more in pregnancy, could be because of a number of factors. Number one, the size of the baby. God's so faithful. The uterus is an organ that can, is very, very much, the muscle layer is very much elastic. So that is why a woman can be pregnant with 1, 2, 3 babies, and it just keeps growing like that. Now, the size of the baby is a very important factor. So for women that have a bigger protrusion of their tummy in pregnancy, it is strictly not based on how they eat or how they do not eat. Okay. Now, multiple gestation, for instance, in twin pregnancy or when you're carrying triplets, you don't expect the size of a woman's womb to be the same as the person that is just carrying one. Another thing again is that we call, the amniotic fluid. The amniotic fluid. That's they call it the water where the baby, swims, and that's more like the environment where the baby is found in within the amniotic sac, exactly. So some women can have hyperproduction of that amniotic fluid. So what it means is that the space within the womb is being occupied or is being taken up more. So the uterus will eventually extend more to accompany or to accommodate that increasing volume. You understand? So on the other side, for women that have, a lesser production of that fluid, the baby can just be growing and the tummy will just look, normal and all of that. And as you know, even when we eat, you understand, the stomach, as it's if it gets bulgier with food, it is only temporal. How do I mean? For instance, now if you're the type that eats too much, maybe when you eat, you consume a lot of food, you get filled, your tummy is big. Before you know it, digestion takes place, and the tummy is empties its content into the intestine for digestion and the rest of them. So they are very, very different. Whatever causes a woman to have a larger abdomen in pregnancy has been, I've categorized or explained it in these 3 factors: the number of babies she's carrying, the size of the baby, and the volume of liquid that she produces within her amniotic sac. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. You came from the medical angle. I want to go to the layman's angle now. So I'm going to go to Adesuwa to answer that. Adesuwa, first of all, do you understand the question, what I asked initially? Do you understand where I was trying to drive at?
I perfectly understand. So to add to what you said.
Yes, but hold on. Before you answer the question, I just want to put it in a very simple term. Is it true that a woman that has a big stomach before even getting pregnant, when she gets pregnant, is it true that the stomach gets bigger? I think maybe that will just probably put the question in a very bigger place. Or someone who is slim, because the person has flat tummy, when the person is pregnant, the stomach will not be so big. I'm saying this because I've heard a lot of men say that. But when you tell them, they'll be like, no, it's not true, it's a lie. Those people that are big, their stomach could be bigger. Those that are slim, their stomach could be very... And funny enough, I've seen a lot of people whereby they have size 8. When they get pregnant, even size 12 cannot size them. But after pregnancy, once they drop, after a while, they go back to their size 8, or maybe they climb up to 9 or 10. So please, in just 2 minutes, because we're wrapping up with this question. Go ahead.
So I believe you have seen men that are very slim, that can eat a big bowl of egg, and their tummy will not.
Yeah.
Like I have a man like that. He will eat a very mighty, as in he eats heavily, as in he eats food for like 3-4 men at once. So, and he's very slim. And when he's done eating, the tummy will remain that way. Now, the major thing we are discussing here is the flabbiness of your abdominal muscles. If you are a woman and your abdominal muscles are your abdomen, that's the muscles that are below your breast, between your breast and your vagina, the muscles that are there, if they are firm, very firm, if you get pregnant, the uterus will definitely expand. But the firmness of your abdominal muscles will determine how big it will look on your clothes, right? Now, to answer your other question about people being big, people being small. Now, for some people that are slim, immediately they get pregnant, it may be obvious, depending on the kind of clothing they put on. And it depends on how firm their abdominal muscles are. So if they have a structure that's firmed up, it will be very hard for you to come up flabby. If your abdomen as a single lady is already flabby before you even got pregnant, like it's just flabby, the uterus will carry a baby and it will have space enough to move forward. So your belly will look bigger. Even if you are carrying a single thing, even if you are carrying a single child, if your abdominal muscles are firm, it holds up the uterus better than someone that has a flabby abdomen, right? That's why people decide to work out, and then when they work out, they see that the abdomen gets firmed up. Now there's some people that are fat, that are on the big side. Let me not use the word fat. They are on the big side. Your back people say that the body swallowed up the baby. Now, if you are flabby already, your abdomen has space inside, like fatty collections are already between the layers of your muscles. Fat has already collected, so you already look big. You even look pregnant when you were not pregnant. Now, when you eventually get pregnant, there is enough space for the uterus to even expand. That some people will say you are even pregnant at your back, like the pregnancy is at the side. They will say the pregnancy was hiding at front of the woman.
Yeah,
And then some
yeah.
women will wear bigger clothes. They are already used to wearing large
Big, yeah.
kaftans. So when they wear a kaftan or they wear a hijab, you wouldn't even know they were pregnant until they put to bed. So it should not make any difference. But for someone likes to wear jeans, she likes to wear a crop top, a very firm top, and look sportish. Immediately there is a difference in the abdomen. Everybody can see that. Oh,
Everybody
this
can
person is
see
pregnant.
that.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
So that firmness of the abdominal cavity plays a very big role. If you were already flabby before you got pregnant, if anything gets in, it will move forward and it will be obvious to everyone that your belly is bigger than it used to be. I think that's
Okay.
just now.
Yes, that does justice to it. Yes. Okay, thank you very much for that one. At this point, we can't take any more questions. I have a lot of questions, but I have some scenarios of some women I have seen and they've asked, understand. So they want to understand, but I can't ask any more questions. So at this point, I would like to say thank you so much to Cynthia Chioma Ubwani. She's a registered nurse and midwife, an outreach facilitator of Life Impact Foundation. She's also a community administrator at PSF, and she's an empowerment advocate. Can we have Cynthia Udebani on the screen, please, while we appreciate us. So yes, that is Cynthia, and also we want to appreciate Adesua Juan Oni, who is a registered nurse and midwife, the founder of Pregnancy Support Foundation. She's a speaker, she's a writer, and the author of 20 books. Can we have the both of them on the screen while we'll let them go and wave them by? Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Can you wave us by while you let us go, while we let you go? Okay.
All right.
All
right.
Pleasure
Bye.
being here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm all smiles because I feel like I achieved a lot today, even though I know it was going to be too short a time to actually handle this. Definitely, I'm bringing Adesua and I'm bringing Cynthia back to talk more on pregnancy, because they made me understand that it's even beyond just the regular pregnancy it's way much deeper than that. At this point, let's go for a health talk. This is 7 tips to actually improve your pregnancy chances, and after that we'll wrap up the show because it's going to be a closing time for us. So let's go for this health tips, and we'll be right back.
Few tips for getting pregnant faster. Stop taking birth control. If you're taking birth control pills and hoping to get pregnant fast, it may be helpful to stop them a few months before trying to conceive. Switch to a non-hormonal form of contraception instead. Find your fertile window. No matter how often you have sex, if you skip the most fertile days of the month, you won't conceive. The biggest mistake any patient make is not knowing exactly when they ovulate. Have sex before you ovulate. If you want to get pregnant fast, it's important to know that having sex before you ovulate boosts the chances that there will be sperm around to greet the eggs once it leaves the ovary. Sperm can survive in your reproductive tract for up to 5 days under the right conditions, but an egg only lasts for 12 to 24 hours after it is released. Try some recommended positions. Maintain a healthy lifestyle. If you're wondering how to increase your chances of getting pregnant, self-care can go a long way. It is no secret that your body goes through some major changes and challenges during pregnancy and delivery. So be sure to start your pregnancy journey in tip-top shape by taking important steps towards living a healthy lifestyle. Scheduling a preconception checkup is an important step in your trying to conceive journey. Your OB-GYN can talk to you about your overall health and suggest any necessary lifestyle changes to help you get pregnant fast. Be sure to discuss any pre-existing conditions that might affect your pregnancy and medications you are currently taking. You can also explore your family history to decide if genetic screening is advisable. Eat healthy food. There isn't one miracle food that you need to be eating to conceive. They are loaded. Eat a variety of vegetables, fruit, complex carbohydrates, and lean proteins. Aim for at least 3 cups of vegetables a day and try to include protein with every meal. Eating a variety of colorful fruit and veggies will infuse your diet with antioxidants and nutrients. And don't skip your green leafy with the folate and iron you need now more than ever.